Ba, ba, da, da, ba, ba, ba. Hello, cinema peeps.
Hello.
That was our new theme song I created right on the spot.
Oh, that was beautiful.
That has no relation to any other musical properties, so please don't sue me. Today is Tuesday, obviously, and it is pretty gloomy outside.
It is. It was actually nice and sunny earlier. I went for a nice morning walk today. It was beautiful, and yeah, you're right. It is a little bit, little grim today, right now.
You did a walk in real life? Like, I woke up and I walked around my Animal Crossing island, so I went for a walk.
Nice. No, I think I'm going to start walking every morning. Like, sometimes I'll go with my family in the evenings. I enjoy going for walks. I miss doing it because Tonka and I used to do it all the time, and we'd go and just sit on the hill that's like behind my house and just kind of like bask in the sun for an hour or so. And I miss doing that. So I was like, yeah, you know what? I'll go for a walk today. And it kind of made me feel a little more energized after doing it. So I think I'm going to start making it part of my morning routine.
What was my thought? My neighbors, so they actually pick up a dog from a shelter and they take it out for walks.
Oh, that's a great idea.
Yeah. And it makes me really jealous because I just want to steal the dogs.
Well, maybe you should start doing that.
That's what I said. My mom actually thought it might be a good idea. Gives them something to do. Gives you something to do. You're outside. So many bonuses.
Lots of good.
Until you get emotionally attached and want to take the dog home.
Oh, yep. That's always the sucker part.
And then it's a slippery slope from there. We actually took part in the 48-hour film challenge hosted by the Okotoks Film Festival.
Woohoo!
We're very excited for you guys to see our project that we made, but we both agreed we're going to keep a little tight-lipped on it until we get closer to the date, which I believe is sometime in June.
June 14th, I think, is the date. I'd have to double check on that.
Yeah.
Wow, we're really great at this.
Well, because I saw something that said like the 11th to the 14th, so I'm not quite sure. It's all going to be online as far as I know. So
normally it's like obviously a real life film festival, but because of the current circumstances, it'll be online this year.
Yes. I do believe there is a vote for audience choice, so we're going to be bothering you guys to vote, so please do. We will very much appreciate it.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, that's what we did this weekend, which made me very tired.
Yes, it was a lot of work, a lot of effort, but I had fun. It was good.
Well, it made me think of the one that we did last time for the Calgary one. Mm-hmm. So this one was very different for me because for the one we did for the Calgary Expo, same idea, 48-hour film challenge.
We will add a link in this video somewhere so that you can go check out that film that we made.
Sorry, to backtrack a little bit. So the 48-hour film challenge is basically you start on Friday around 6 o'clock. In your teams, you're given a prop, a line of dialogue, and a genre you have to use to make a short film. The time kind of ranges. I know for this one we just did, it was between 3 to 6 minutes. I think the Calgary one was 5 to 8 or something.
I think so. I think it might have been 8 minutes, but then again, that could have just been with the credits I added afterwards too, because I made some fancy credits.
We were pretty close from what I remember. So yeah, and the idea is that you have till Sunday, roughly the same time, about 6 o'clock, to complete your said film. Mm-hmm. It's really fun. It kind of makes you think a little bit out of the box and makes you try to... I feel like sometimes we'll come up with ideas, but then maybe not always execute them.
Yeah.
Whereas you're kind of forced to... What made me think of the Calgary one, me and my friends, we had... What was our genre was horror, which we thought was really funny, because we always do Halloween shorts. So.
Wasn't it horror comedy?
Yeah, so we were kind of, like, literally, I think when we got to the festival and watched everybody else's, there was also, like, heist in space, and I was kind of like, man, I wish we kind of got one of those, because we usually every Halloween try to do, like, a horror, sometimes it's a comedy film, so we were kind of like, aw. I believe our prop was very generic, it was toys.
Yeah.
And then I don't remember what our line was. Me and Kendra were talking about this. We're pretty sure one of my friends said at the beginning of the video. I cannot remember it to save my life.
It seemed very out of place.
Yes.
For what was going on, but it worked.
Right? Oh man, I remember feeling so stressed. Me and my friend went, we picked up our envelope, we came back, we had pizza, we brainstormed, I was FaceTiming you, and then we filmed it all Saturday, and then I pretty much edited from like 6 p.m. to like 6 a.m.
Yeah.
And just continued doing so. This time around, though, I feel like I got the better end of the shtick. I was just kind of like, Here's some instant shots, Kendra. I did a little animation for you. Here you go.
Yeah, you were good on the VFX part. I think, yeah, I was the one who, well, more so on the Sunday. I was kind of stressed just because it was like getting down to the wire, and I'm like, oh my god, I gotta make sure I've got time to export. But luckily, now that I've got my new PC, I forget that the rendering time is like nothing on it. Like it goes so fast. So like I was just like biting my nails the entire time, being like, oh my god, I hope the export's not gonna take forever. But it was like less than 2 minutes, I think. 2-3 minutes, and I was like, yes! And we got it uploaded, and we were on time, and bada bing, bada boom, as Caleigh would say, Papa John's.
Bada bing, bada boom, Papa John's. Not sponsored.
We did it.
Normally, you'd be able to do this with your friends, but during, obviously, quarantine times, they emailed us this information, and they also said for us to upload. Mm-hmm. Typically, they'll usually, if you live close by, put on, like, a flash drive and drop it off.
Yeah.
I remember for the Calgary one, I was so nervous. So like, because I think they said they'd be there at the same place where we picked up our envelopes. It was at this little board cafe.
Oh yeah.
So my dad drove me there, and so I show up at this board cafe. I'm looking to drop off the disc, and one of those, it was either the manager, I think it may have been the manager, was like, oh hi, like how can I help you today? I was like, oh, I'm just here for the 40-hour film challenge. I'm dropping off my film. And they're like, we have no idea what you're talking about. Literally, I was dying. I was like, what? So I get back to the car, and I'm like, Dad, I don't know what to do.
Caleigh's like, am I being pranked? Did we film this all for nothing?
Honestly, that's kind of what I felt like. I was just genuinely so confused. And then I'm asking my mom to try to, like, open my email, because I can't from my phone, because I don't have data. And I'm just like, I don't know what's going on. So then we drove back after my mom confirmed. She's like, no, you're right. Like, you're supposed to go there. And so I showed up again, feeling a little crazy. And then luckily the manager had recognized me. So she ran up. She goes, oh, I'm so sorry. The people are actually running late. Like, she knew one of the like, I don't know how it went down, but she was like, they are here now. So the one time in my life I'm really early, it cost me my sanity. So I think I will never be early again. Like, oh my goodness.
Oh my gosh.
That was pretty stressful.
Yeah, no kidding. But yeah, that's the long lead up to what we were doing this past weekend, and we had a lot of fun doing it, and we're excited to be able to share it with everybody, and hopefully other people will enjoy it as much as we enjoyed creating it. I think that's the fun thing too about like the whole having 48 hours to write, shoot, and edit a film, is it kind of like tests your limits of your creativity. Mm-hmm. And especially because the current circumstances, you're kind of confined to your own space and the things around you. Mm-hmm. And then on the top of that too, like we were able to collaborate on it too. That was like encouraged for this 48-hour film challenge. That they said like you can either work with the people that you're living with, or if you can find a way to virtually do it with other people, do it that way. And I mean, that was kind of the whole reason we started Cinema Gals in the first place, was because, you live in Calgary, I live in Edmonton. So being able to like work remotely together still, that's part of the challenge. And I thought it was pretty cool.
I agree. Mm-hmm. Like we technically, we worked together doing the Calgary one, but you like couldn't come down. So I know like I was FaceTiming you and being like, hey, how is this cut look and stuff? And I know, like, maybe I'm completely wrong, so obviously shoot me if I'm crazy. But, like, I know from your end, you were like, I wish I could help you. I wish I could do more to assist you. But I felt like this one, we were roughly a little even. I feel like you had a little bit more work, but at least, like, we wrote the script together. Mm-hmm. I was able to supply some shots from my home. Not a spoiler, but we have some voice acting, which is top notch.
Yes.
So I felt like it was a little more even, so it wasn't like too much on one person, but you still, I think, you did the bulk of it, and I think you did a great job.
Well, thank you. But I think we both did a pretty good job. We had a good, even amount of collaboration on this one, for sure.
Agreed. Ooh, so I don't know if anybody else watches How to Get Away with Murder, but on Thursday it had its season finale.
Oh, really?
Or sorry, I guess it's its series finale, because now it's over.
Oh, is it finally?
Yeah. Should have ended sooner. I don't know why it took so long. Oh, man. And that last episode, oh my god. was so bad.
Uh-oh.
So bad. Like, I don't even know how to explain how bad this show is. I think also the thing that drives me nuts is that if you look it up, like How to Get a Murder has such high reviews, it's ridiculous. They're like 94%. And I'm sitting here, I'm like, am I like crazy? What is happening? Like, this is awful. Like, what are you talking about? Good. This is not good at all. Mind it, it's not like it's not a complete heap of garbage. Like, I think Viola Davis does do some pretty solid performances. Sometimes a little over the top. There's still obviously good aspects, but like as a whole, I'm just left mad, confused, frustrated. So like me and my friend, like we watched it and then we were just like talking about it and we just could not understand why. So like we were trying to find reviews and so many people were just giving it such high praises. We found a couple rotten reviews and oh man, they made my night. They were so funny. Because they did this weird thing at the end. Spoilers, I guess, if you watch the show or ever watch the show. I'll save you the time, just don't. Or if anything, watch seasons 1 and 2 and just Wikipedia the rest. I've saved you a lot of time in your life. They basically have all these characters be in old age makeup, and it was honestly the most horrible old age makeup I've ever seen.
Oh, really?
If anybody watches Face Off, or did, it was a special effects makeup show where they had to like, every week they got like a challenge they had to do, and sometimes their challenges was to do an old age makeup. Mm-hmm. So I'm not saying I'm an expert, but like I've watched enough to like understand what to look for. To be fair, it was hard to gauge like how many years had passed, but like we had a rough estimate, and the way they aged them like plus 80 years. It made no sense. And some of them like looked like straight up awful. I remember somebody writing in one of the reviews, they were like, there's no way they would have let themselves go this poorly and be seen in public.
Did they look like The Walking Dead?
Someone wrote it best. They said their wigs looked like they were witches in a grim fairy tale in the forest. And I was like, yeah, that's it.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, it was so funny. Don't watch the show. It's frustrating. But if you're into special effects makeup, I highly recommend Face Off.
Yes, Face Off is pretty cool.
Yeah, unfortunately it got canceled. Yeah. But I think there's like 13 seasons. Like, it's really dope. Mm-hmm. It's amazing to watch them, especially when they have to make the prosthetics.
Yeah.
Or like full masks and stuff. And they just, all the detail they do in the clay is amazing. And sometimes like, oh yeah, I did this in like 4 hours. And I'm like, what? I could maybe make a circle. A nice looking circle. And they've like created all these details, and there's a lot of if you're into like monsters, a lot of them when they recruit them are usually like, I work in murder fun houses.
Yeah.
So you're like, I see, you're really good at monsters.
Yeah.
But honestly, it's a really cool idea. It's like another aspect of like the film world you never would have considered.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And it's just really cool.
You look at any of like the older, more 80s kind of sci-fi movies, or just any movie that has that type of like special effects makeup in it, and you just like really appreciate the amount of work and like talent that goes into that. Like Predator, or like I can't think off the top of my head, but like pretty much any 80s movie, or any movie in particular that doesn't have like a whole shit ton of like computer generated creatures and stuff like that. It's all more so like practical effects and practical makeup and stuff like that. Yeah, it's pretty impressive.
Right? Especially if there's stuff that's like really subtle. That's what always gets me.
Oh yeah.
If they have to do like scars one week or something, or again, old age makeup.
Oh yeah, you don't even realize it. Like, it's amazing just some of the small, like the small details on anything, where it's just like a person has a scar, or they got into a fight, and you have to do all those like little tiny details. You don't even think about it.
Right. And they do such a good job. And it does, like you're saying, like how like older movies would do that a lot, and it does seem in our new age like a lot of it's just digital, which I mean, I think in it, like its own category, like you have to respect like how far.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Right. It's one of those mediums you don't really think about a whole lot. But you don't realize until you actually, like, pile it all together, like, oh, yeah, like, between, I don't know, what, the 90s and, like, early 2000s, 2010s, there was such a huge surge. If you watch interviews, like, a lot of people talk about how, like, VFX, like, how quickly it's developed over the years is insane.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
But I do wish, especially, like, watching Face Off and seeing how talented these people are, like, I do wish that they would still incorporate this.
Yeah.
Because it's just, like, it's amazing. And again, I think it comes down to money. Like, it's probably cheaper to hire a VFX artist to do it in post.
Money and time, more than likely.
Yeah.
Because it takes time, obviously, to have to, get in the makeup trailer and put all that on, whereas you could just, like, add a bunch of little, like, green dots on the person's face and go, this is where we want to computer generate his face. But even, I don't know if you've ever seen, because I'm pretty sure one of us has shared it on Facebook in the past, but when the Mad Max Fury Road movie came out, and they showed, like, all of the subtle VFX that they did that you wouldn't have even thought of were, like, visual effects, that blew my mind.
I think you posted something about Little Women. That one for me, I was like, what?
Yeah, right? When they're ice skating, and it's like, they're not on an actual pond. It's just like, a simulated thing. Like, it's just like a bunch of plexiglass put down on the ground, and they're skating over it, and then they had to, like, just put a few layers in VFX over to make it look like real ice.
Right, like, that's crazy. Speaking of, like, taking a long time in the makeup chair, that reminds me of, like, the X-Men special features where they're talking about how it took, like, 8 hours for Mystique to get ready in the day.
Oh, God, yeah.
I think in a follow-up interview in X-Men 2, United, they're like, yeah, we were able to cut that, like, in half, so it was only 4 hours. But I'm like, holy.
Wow, yeah.
Sitting in a chair for 8 hours?
Yeah, no kidding. Even, like, the Grinch, like Jim Carrey's version of the Grinch, how long he had to sit in the makeup chair just to get all that on. Like, yeah, that's insane.
But you know what? Mad respect.
Oh, I was going to ask, because I know you talked about it a little bit in the last episode, but did you get a chance to watch Scoob yet?
I have not.
No?
I've been meaning to, and my friend just texted me about how stupid the price is to pay for it.
Oh, really?
And I'm like, yeah, it's a rough road. I think the plan is we're going to finish our Star Wars marathon, and then maybe we'll watch it.
Nice.
Fingers crossed.
Did you see that Grant Gustin, on his story, he is now doing a Mission Impossible marathon?
Yes. He obviously stole that from me. Obviously.
I saw that. I was like, oh, Caleigh just did that.
Heck yeah, we did.
Nice. You're a trendsetter.
I know. Just look at me. Look at me now,
influencing
Mom.
all the big names.
Right? That's what I do, man. That is what I do. I can't remember. Do you watch Batwoman?
I do.
What are your thoughts? Because me and my friend also talked about that after How to Get Away with Murder.
Oh, yeah? Do you guys watch it?
Yes. To be fair, I haven't seen their season finale in air quotes, because technically it wasn't meant to be a season finale because of COVID.
Right.
I think it got cut by 2 or 3 episodes.
I think all of the DC shows minus Arrow, because obviously Arrow's done now. Rest in peace.
Actually, and DC Legends.
Right. I think they all got cut short a couple episodes.
Yes. So, minus, because like I said, I haven't watched the finale yet. What do you think of the series?
Okay, well, I will tell you, without spoiling anything, the finale was pretty good.
Okay.
That being said, I think it has potential, and the reason why I don't judge it too harshly just now is because she's... Well, it's still the first season, right? So they're just trying to establish everybody and establish the universe and stuff like that. So I don't want to, like, go too hard on the show just yet. I think the thing that makes it hard to want to compare it is because there are all those other DC shows already, and they're so far into their series that you're like, do I really want to introduce a new character already when I'm so like set with these ones? Like these guys all have the bond. I wouldn't say it's my favorite just yet, but I'm still like watching through because I want to see what happens.
Right.
I find Alice, the villain, I find her story way more intriguing, and it seems to be more of the focus of the show right now than the actual character of Batwoman right now. So, yeah. What do you think?
Oh, I don't like it very much.
No.
You're right in the sense that, like, they have their big brother and sister shows that have been on for so long. But at the same time, I just feel Batwoman's just not interesting to me. I didn't know a whole lot about Ruby Rose. I believe she was in Orange is in the New Black, and everybody thought she was amazing.
She was in Pitch Perfect 3.
She was, yes. So, I mean, like, coming in, like, I was expecting a little bit more.
Oh, yeah.
But she's just kind of made her, like, very bland. Like, I get, again, like, it's an origin story, and they're growing as characters, but you can't, like, I don't know. Like, sometimes it seems like she's not too cool to be there, but just she seems very bored.
I totally get that, yeah. Because like you say, like she seems like she's too cool to be there for like when she's in her show, but like when they've done the first encounter of her in the Elseworlds crossover with Flash and Arrow, and then her whole bit with Supergirl in the Crisis, like this most recent Crisis.
Yeah,
I found that I learned more about her as a person in those 2 episodes than I do in her actual series, because to me it's the focus is more so on the villain, Alice. That actress is incredible. She's doing a great job as that villain.
Oh, fun fact, she was also in a failed TV series called Birds of Prey that was also on the CW.
Oh, really?
The CW. The CW. I think she played the Canary, if I remember correctly. But yeah, honestly, I think Alice is the best part of that show, although sometimes, for me even too, she kind of like wavers.
Yeah.
Because at first I was like, yeah, like, I'm all for this. I think this is great. Like, she does a good job. And then other times I'm just like, oh, I'm just so sick of your bullshit.
I think it just kind of adds to her insanity.
I guess so.
I feel like they did kind of drag it out. Like, they stretched it out for throughout the entire season. And I felt like they maybe could have, narrowed it down a little bit more and then kind of started to throw or like delve a little bit deeper into the world of Batwoman, and because they didn't really touch too much, unless I'm just forgetting because there's just so much going on with those shows, but like they haven't delved too much into, why like the whole Bruce Wayne is missing, she's in here. Like I wish she'd kind of like delve deeper into that and like, maybe doing some investigating as to where he is and like
right.
So unless she just doesn't care too much about her cousin, but maybe now that she's become Batwoman, she'll kind of start to look into that a bit more. I don't know.
One would have thought, too, right? And I mentioned this when me and my friend were talking. Literally the only time an important detail has been mentioned is the fact that in this universe that he has killed the Joker. That was the first, I don't know how many episodes ago. It was rather recently. But that's the first time we've heard anything about, and maybe that was suggested of why he went into hiding. But again, they're just like, well, this detail's not interesting enough. And I'm like, are you shitting me?
Yeah. I don't know anything about Batwoman from the comics and stuff like that. So again, I'm coming from like completely fresh eyes. So maybe there's a whole thing that like I don't know about, because Batman is such, an iconic character. You would think that there would be some sort of tie, unless they just really wanted to like have her be her own thing, completely separate from Batman. The only thing they share is just that they both wear the suit. I don't know.
Yeah, I understand that. Me too. Like, I don't know a whole lot about Batwoman, but I think that's maybe the reason why then I'm giving the show such a harder time. Because again, I know there's always this balance of between, making fans of like hardcore comics happy and newcomers such as ourselves into this show. But again, if all the characters are really bland, I don't even care for her ex-love interest. Like, I think that whole love triangle is stupid. Like, because who knows? Like, again, because like we said, we don't read the comics, and maybe there are more details and more stuff that are, that are interesting about this character, but it doesn't seem like they're showing a whole lot of it.
And I'd just be curious to know, because the character of Batwoman, well, Kate Kane, she's a lesbian, right?
Yes.
So I'd be interested to know if she is accurately portraying, or if the story itself in the series is an accurate portrayal, or is relatable enough to the LGBTQ community. And maybe that's why we don't get it as much, or we're not as intrigued by it as much, is because we can't relate.
Maybe, but from what I understand, like, Batwoman's gone through a couple revamps, and it is canon in the comics that she is a lesbian, which is totally fine. Everyone should be represented. But I think everyone should be represented in a way that they're not a stereotype. And that's what I kind of feel like Kate Kane is a stereotype of a lesbian. And like, let me shout out to my favorite lesbians. But on DC Legends of Tomorrow, my favorite, actually, maybe this is a bold claim, but I think my favorite couple of all time is Sarah and Ava on DC Legends of Tomorrow.
Oh, yeah?
Because to me, they just seem like they're real people.
Yeah.
Like, they care about each other. You care about their problems. You want them to stick them together. And I feel like maybe because of the way the writers have wrote the show, they just show them as real people going through real problems.
Yeah, that's true. And I guess it shouldn't matter, like, obviously, it shouldn't matter what your sexual orientation is, right? What matters is you as a person, so.
Right. So I think if they, like, wrote her more, just more as a human being, I don't feel like that would matter, and I think it would just do so much better. And I remember mentioning, because even my friend agreed, there was that whole part early on the season where she revealed that she was a lesbian, and so they're like, we're not gonna shine the bat light because she's a lesbian. And I remember my friend kind of had the same thing. We're just like, really? I feel like the world is a little bit better. Like, there are people who are still against, who do not support the LGBTQ community. And that's, their own issues, but as long as you support what's good in the world, I think it should all work out. But again, to the point at hand, the way the show, from what I understand, it's being shown in present day.
Yeah.
So it's a little weird to me because I was like, is this really still an issue? Like, it just feels so out of touch.
Right, and I'm wondering if
world.
that's just more so a CW decision, because majority of the CW shows are kind of trying to do the more after-school special type thing where there's always some sort of lesson to be learned. They think the majority of their demographic is a younger audience, so they want to kind of touch on those subjects so that it's like aware and relevant and it exists as problems in these shows that need to be addressed, I guess, because they maybe aren't as... it's not a popular issue that's addressed in other shows, so I don't know if maybe it's that, and that was more of just like a CW decision to make, or like, again, I've never read the comics, so I don't know if that was something that happened in the comics or not, or but...
Right. I think you can still tackle that issue, because again, I don't think it's as big, or maybe I'm just living in a bubble of my own, and I'm just living in a naive world, which is very possible. I'm not against them not touching upon it, because obviously that is important, because like you said, they are probably targeting a younger demographic to show them that it's okay.
Yeah, and if there's anybody who can relate, then they've got something to, look up to, right?
I think, the way they're going about it is just very tone-deafy.
Yeah.
It just doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's why I'm trying to give it a chance, because I want to see if, like, they're just kind of warming up to things, and then they're maybe going to, start to amp it up a bit more in the second season. Or do you have any interest, because I know it premieres tonight, do you have any interest in watching Stargirl?
I have it recorded.
Yeah.
So by the time this podcast comes out, it'll have officially aired its first episode.
Yes.
I'm ready to watch it. So I think right now it's in good standings because I have absolutely no expectations. So I'm just more interested to see like where it goes. My only knowledge of Stargirl is that she shows up in an episode of DC Legends of Tomorrow.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
I need
as
to watch
part
that
of
show.
Yeah, I keep telling you. But yeah, I think she shows up briefly season 2 because they're like talking about like how they were the original kind of Justice League.
Yeah.
And from the looks of it, I saw a couple promotional stuff and it seems like she's part of an ensemble or with the same group. I'm not 100% sure on that.
I think so.
All I know is Joel McHale is the first star man, I guess. Like, I'm not quite sure about that. It does, so from what I understand, it'll probably be a little bit more of a period piece type thing.
Probably.
I don't know. I'm looking forward to watching something different while on the elliptical, but as of right now, I'm keeping my expectations very low.
Yeah.
And we'll just see where it goes.
I find it funny because I'm almost done watching Smallville, and then I'll start watching DC Legends.
Come on, Kendra.
I've been watching Smallville, and in this season that I'm watching, they just introduced an episode that has Stargirl and the Justice League of America, or whatever their original name was. So they touched upon it in an episode, and I find it so funny because it's like every time I watch something in Smallville, there's some sort of connection to it in the shows already. So I'm like, oh, okay. So now I can see why they all consider Smallville the grandfather of all these Arrowverse shows, because it literally has everything that these shows are doing right now.
Right.
Yeah, it was kind of interesting that they had that. And I thought it was cool that the Flash at the time, like the Jay Garrick Flash, is a character in that original group. So I wonder if they'll have any connection to the Jay Garrick that we know in this version of the Flash with that at all. Or if there's just a completely different version. Because I know there's like all the multiverse type Flashes, so who knows what it is, right?
Yeah. Well, a lot of those actors, though, that were on that Flash do show up as characters on the more recent Flash.
Yeah.
The lady who played Iris in that version of the older Flash, I think that one came out in 1992. She plays one of the tech moguls, more present in season 1 and 2, I think.
Yeah, because her character's name in the 90s Flash was Tina.
Was it?
Yeah.
No, I thought it was Iris. My
No.
bad, people. I'm dumb.
I think Iris is just like her own thing. I don't know if they've done like rewrites or if she's an actual original character of the comics or whatever, but in the 90s version, I know that her name is Tina.
Tina.
But yes, you are correct. She does play a doctor or professor or some sort of tech mogul in the new Flash series.
And same with Mark Hamill, who apparently played the Jester or whatever, or the Trickster,
Trickster, yeah.
Twice in both shows, which is so weird because I was like, that's like a weird knockoff of the Joker. I'm like, oh, the guy who voices the Joker is playing this. I'm like, that's so weird.
I love those episodes.
So bizarre. But I think that'll be it for us today.
I mean, we could talk literally about the Arrowverse shows for hours and hours. So maybe we'll just do a whole episode dedicated to that one time.
We could do some specialized podcasts where that's all we talk about forever and ever and ever and ever and ever and ever and ever. So if you're interested, please let us know.
Yeah, definitely.
Other than that, hope you have a great rest of your week. A happy Tuesday. And yeah.
Keep watching movies and shows.
Continue to watch all the content.
Yep.
Let us know how it goes. If not, doesn't matter. You're in a free world. It doesn't really matter. All right. Goodbye.
Bye, Cinema
Bye.
Peeps. Monkey,
Monkey, and slap.
slap.
Boom, boom, boom.